right, hi. Welcome back to another episode of Speculation Nation. This is Nick with my co-host Will. Will, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Will, let's talk about the Detroit Lions fans, our favorite punching bag as Vikings fans. Just hit their 10,000th day without a playoff victory. Do we care?
As a Vikings fan, how can you not sympathize with another long-suffering fan? So, of course I care. I don't want them to get a playoff berth over my team. But, hey, if you want to be the wild card while we win the division and then you don't matter while we win the Super Bowl, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
And I also don't think if you don't long suffer at any point, you're never a fan.
So, Will, what do you want to talk about today?
I think we should play a game. FMK, we all know it. Fuck, marry, kill. All the rosters. We're going to hold ourselves to some rules. We're going to try, with most part, to be positional battles. And then we're also going to try to exclude players with an ADP in the first 3 rounds. The only reason we're going to try these things is because sometimes there's an interesting thing to talk about that doesn't fit within these rules.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So, fuck means rosterable with fun upside. Be prepared to give up. You're trying for a big thing. Be prepared to, take a swing and miss.
Okay, so then that'll make Mary, they have a role on the team that's pretty decided, or like a dynasty stash?
Yes. And kill means this is a player we think you should ignore. Sometimes it's going to be a player out of the 3 that we think you should most ignore. Not just necessarily the worst thing in the world and never consider them, but out of the players that we're citing, they're the one we most dislike. For whatever reason, we will further state.
Who's up?
In the East, we're starting off with those Dallas Cowboys. We've got a FMK between Witten, Gallup, Cobb, or Hearns. In this specific one, I have a player that I'm leaving out because I'm kind of abstaining from judging.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's get into it. Why don't you go first with your FMK?
So my fuck is Cobb. I think that there is a fun opportunity for him to be Cole Beasley. I think it's necessary on this team. Amari Cooper's going to do the big work. Cobb could be the Beasley that they just lost.
Yeah, he moved on to Buffalo, so there's definitely room for that, slot, go get him guy. I also like Cobb for an immediate fuck, and for a Mary, I think out of this group, I'd have to pick Gallup. I like Gallup for a potential breakout season. I know it might fall closer to the guidelines for the F, but I think that if he catches fire early, it's going to happen all season long.
Flipping these two is so easy to do. What do you like for kill?
For kill, I got to say Jason Witten. I just can't find fantasy value here where I look.
Witten retired because he wasn't good enough at football anymore. In his own opinion, he just didn't think he could add that much value. He's back, and it might add a ton of value to that locker room. I don't think it'll add any value on the team. Allen Hearns was the person that we listed as a 4th option. He's a decent player that I don't project for anything more than being a decent player on a football team.
See, and for me, he's a training camp watch kind of guy. If he has a breakout, then Gallup's going to get sidelined. It won't be Cobb. So I kind of see him and Gallup as interchangeable for that, but there can't be both. Only one.
Like the Highlander. Going on in the East, we've got Philadelphia, and here specifically, I think it makes sense to talk about the running back committee. Let's FMK, Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders, Corey Clement, or Josh Adams. I like that Josh Adams doesn't get a comma. He gets an or.
Well, they're kind of the incumbents, so for me, they would have to be the kill. I think if either of them had done their thing, the other two wouldn't be options. I just don't think they would have spent high draft capital on Miles Sanders, and I don't think they would have aggressively made a move to go get Jordan Howard. They didn't sign him. They traded for him. They brought him in specifically. So I have to kill those two. I wish I didn't. I love Corey Clement.
Corey Clement is, to me, the fuck, because if you ever believed it, this is the time to make your bet. The Mary is Miles Sanders, and the kill is Jordan Howard because he cannot return the ADP.
See, and I'm almost the vice versa. I feel like Howard is definitely got the starting job to begin the season unless training camp goes just terribly for him. Like, they knew they might go to the draft. They already had these two guys who were positive starters for the most part in those weeks last year that they needed them, but at the end of the day, they felt like they had to go get something. And obviously, Sanders for the Mary, I think he'll have that job by the end of the year, but I think it'll be very similar to what happened with Nick Chubb in Cleveland last year, where you're going to have to wait a bulk of the season before you're going to get that paid back. And
I really hope Jordan Howard is good, too. Our next team is the Giants, and the Giants present a great FMK. Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, and Evan Ingram. What do you think?
I mean, for me, I could spend.
Take
I could have my wild night with.
Take fuck, and I'll take Mary.
Done. I could have my wild night with either Evan Ingram or Sterling Shepard. I'm gonna F Sterling Shepard. I think he could have a strong year.
Me and you both. I'm going to start with Sterling Shepard. I am willing to give up fast, but I'm going to start with Sterling Shepard. Mary, obviously, Evan Ingram is probably the fifth best tight end in the league.
I gotta look at those targets being spread around. But at the end of the day, I like the rapport between Evan Ingram and Eli Manning better. But when and if Daniel Jones becomes the man, it's hard to know who he's going to vibe with. Young quarterbacks generally like tight ends, so
I don't mind that. If I were to do FMK for myself in this same situation, we agreed on fuck Sterling Shepard. I think that Golden Tate versus Evan Ingram is such an interesting situation because Golden Tate does that job, and he does it with gusto. And Evan Ingram is better as a physical specimen. So, yeah, I actually agree with what you already laid out. But I can't kill Golden Tate.
No, that's how the game
works,
man.
Can anyone kill Golden
FMK,
Tate?
you got to K somebody.
I don't think the NFL can kill Golden Tate.
I don't think anything can kill Golden Tate except for Packer fans.
So, on to the running backs in Washington are extremely interesting. The ones that I have listed here, FMK, Darius Geis, Adrian Peterson, Chris Thompson. If you want to throw in a note about Bryce Love, I wouldn't be adverse.
If I'm fucking somebody, it might be Love just because he's the unknown commodity.
No!
If I'm marrying somebody, it's going to be Geis.
Oh.
And if I'm killing somebody, it's the old men. We're taking those guys out behind the barn. And, well, if you haven't seen Old Yeller, I bet you can find it.
Oh, they're not behind the barn. It's horrifying. Darius Geis. I like what you said. So you would hope that fuck leads to marrying? Like in a perfect world, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're going to marry Darius Geis. I was only going to have sex with him. Yeah. I really hope Geis takes it over. Chris Thompson doesn't play the same game. So I don't know whether I get to fuck, marry, or kill Chris Thompson. He plays a different game. He plays wide receiver.
Yeah, he was Tariq Cohen before Tariq Cohen was Tariq Cohen.
He's the best. He is the most important receiving running back outside of James White that's existed so far.
All right.
NFC West.
NFC West. So while we're playing this game of FMK, I could not love this trio more. Out of Seattle, Tyler Lockett, highly touted rookie DK Metcalf, or the flash in the pan, but boy, am I excited about Will Dinsley coming back. Last year, set waiver wires on fire and was gone just as fast as he came. Will Dinsley.
Disley.
Just
stop.
No.
Let's
No, it's right. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
And Will Dinsley
Stop.
And Will Dissly, the tight end sensation that set waiver wires afire and was gone almost as fast as he came into the picture. Great chemistry with Russell Wilson. If I'm FMK in here, I am going to F DK Metcalf because I think he could be a rookie standout. I think he could be up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Will Dinsley would be my Mary because tight ends are hard to find.
Dissly,
and
you son of a bitch.
Dissly would be my Mary because tight ends are hard to find and names apparently to say. And Tyler Lockett would be my kill, mostly because I've just been burned too many times with fantasy rosters.
It only makes sense.
That included him.
It only makes sense. Yeah, I would say fuck and marry DK Metcalf if you can. And kill Tyler Lockett.
You really should, kids.
Yeah.
F before you M.
This is just good advice. And F before you M DK Metcalf very specifically. Like if you have the opportunity, don't pass it up. He's a specimen. I don't necessarily want to kill Tyler Lockett outright. Out of these three, I would kill Will Dissly because I just don't think any tight end out of that place is going to be that good. But
They
Tyler
couldn't make
Lockett,
it work with Jimmy Graham, so that's fair.
If you were a Tyler Lockett believer, you got it last year. Give it away. DK Metcalf.
All right, how about in the Rams? This has got to be one of the funnest FMKs. We've got Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods. On the whole, they all look like studs. It's Sean McVay's offense. Will, you got to give me some inspiration because honestly, I can't even pick.
I've actually done different things, and I have different things written down that I'm about to say. I'm going to say fuck Cooks, marry Woods, kill Kupp.
Holy wow. All right. I would have to go with F Kupp, M Cooks, kill Woods.
I get it. I married Woods. You killed him.
I did. I think.
Tell me why you kill Woods.
I kill Woods because I think he was a byproduct of Kupp missing time. Kupp has a real strong connection. He has been clearly for 2 seasons until he got hurt last year. He's been Goff's go-to man. And I think that probably stays the same as somebody who's doubted him so far the whole time.
That really makes sense to me. The reason that I fuck Cooks is because practice partner and stuff like that mattered earlier. I think he'll take the next step. Woods is the reliable receiver. Cooks is the talented receiver. He won't need Kupp anymore. I kill him.
Fair enough. Well, let's turn our eyes over to the Bay Area for the 49ers. We're going to keep with the wide receiver theme here. Dante Pettis, Deebo Samuels, Marquise Goodwin, or Jalen Hurd. So we got 2 rookies, 2 incumbents. Who's going to emerge?
If I'm just going to go down the list, I will say fuck Deebo Samuel, marry Marquise Goodwin, and kill Dante Pettis, but this is an ADP decision.
I can't actually argue here. I think that if I'm picking it, I have to go the exact same. Leaving us only one team, maybe the most exciting offense to come into the NFL in a while. We'll see what the air raid brings. Let's just talk about the young guys. Fitzgerald's going to have his role. He's going to do his thing. So, F, Hakeem Butler, because I think a big-bodied receiver like that, air raid offense, be a high touchdown number. Very rosterable. Might be a spot start kind of guy in my eyes. I got to stick with Kirk. I know you're going to go a different way here, but Isabella is just too unknown again for me to bank on it.
In my limited experience with watching things about the air raid offense, I want that reliable deep threat. And so for me, if I'm going to say FMK between these, I mean, I'll say fuck. I mean, like, you have to pick different people. I would fuck and marry Andy Isabella. But I'll fuck Hakeem Butler. Like, yeah, let's see if there's a real... Let's see if that connection survives in the NFL. That makes sense. If it does, then it does. But as soon as it doesn't, as soon as he starts to think about anything else, fuck Hakeem Butler. Andy Isabella is the thing that works in this offense. And then kill Christian Kirk because I think Kirk does the same job as Fitzgerald. That's why I'm killing him.
The NFC North And let's start with our favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. Stephon Diggs, basically the Minnesota tight end, or Alexander Mattison.
So I would fuck Alexander Madison because I think he'll be the goal line back and he'll be the short yardage back. And then I'll kill Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith because they will cancel each other out for sure.
I would actually go more with a fuck on Stephon Diggs just because if Thielen has the kind of hot start like he had last year, it's going to be, you're going to probably want to try to move on from Diggs. You're probably going to want to make a trade there.
It really is a definitional thing at that point. It really makes sense. What you're saying makes perfect sense.
Which the potential for Cook's injury history to rear its ugly head, and then Mattison becomes the clear number one running back at a very, very low ADP.
I don't mind that at all. Green Bay, Aaron Jones, Geronimo Allison, Equanimus St. Brown, or Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
Out of Green Bay, man, there's a lot of fun stats to look up with St. Brown and Valdez-Scantling. I'm very excited about both those players, so for me, either one of them would probably be a fuck. Like, I could take either of them as a late round flyer.
It used to be an offense that supported 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And
maybe again.
Aaron Jones, though, for me, I've never been a believer. They like Jamal Williams too much. I would have to kill him. Something can come out of nowhere and just take that job. I know he's highly drafted, but for me, especially using the ADP as a guideline, it's just when we're talking about taking Aaron Jones over George Kittle, Amari Cooper, Mark Ingram, Josh Jacobs, Philip Lindsay, this is all way too high.
Way too high. So I had no idea that he was that high. So it does actually mess me up a little bit, but I'm going to say Geronimo Allison is definitely my fuck. I don't care about the other 2 wide receivers at all. In that, it wouldn't be fun to me to bet on them to see what happens. I don't think much will happen. I think something might happen with Geronimo Allison. There's
not even as a flyer?
Okay. Not in a draft. No, that would never be my last pick in a draft. I just don't think it's good enough. Geronimo Allison's going to be low enough that you might be getting a second or third wide receiver in a special spot. Like that's neat to me. Aaron Jones was my Mary until I realized he was in the middle of the 3rd round. That's so high. And then Kill is, I don't think you should bet on other wide receivers besides Geronimo.
I actually underrated this Chicago passing game a lot because I didn't think there was anything I would want here, but I'm looking at Allen Robinson, I'm looking at Anthony Miller, I'm looking at Tyler Gabriel, and the rookie Riley Ridley, Calvin Ridley's brother. I mean, that wide receiver core is actually a lot more formidable than I was giving you credit for before we started looking into this.
It is. It is at the hands of Mitch Trubisky.
Right, which makes it dangerous. So who are you going to F, M, or K?
Yeah, I guess I would fuck Anthony Miller. Maybe later in a draft. I would kill Allen Robinson at his current ADP. And what did I not do yet? I would marry, I'm sorry to break the thing, but I'd marry Trey Burton, the tight end.
No, Trey Burton, the tight end's fine. I would say it's going with the ADPs. I would probably F Miller as well late, marry Trey Burton, and probably kill Allen Robinson just based on ADP.
Sometimes it's not a draft. Sometimes it's an auction. I could see Allen Robinson falling to an incredibly low value. In auctions, sometimes there are forgotten players. He might end up being forgotten.
So moving over to one more set of wide receivers here in the NFC North. The Detroit Lions are bringing Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, and rookie TJ Hockenson to the forefront. Will, who you got here?
We all need more information about injury, so we're recording this early. So forgive us if we end up being completely wrong. As it stands, let's say they're all healthy. Marvin Jones is my fuck here because he's forgotten and he's a fucking good receiver. My Mary, I guess, is Danny because he'll probably do his job. And then Kenny Galladay is my kill just because he's too highly rated as ADP.
I'm going to F Kenny Galladay. I'm going to hope that the injury is better.
God, I hope you're right.
I'm going to M TJ Hawkinson because he's a rookie tight end. It's a passing offense. He has the skills to do it, and I really think that the pool is so shallow that it doesn't take much to make waves in it.
Is this kind of influenced by Dynasty?
No. In redraft.
In redraft, you think TJ Hawkinson should even be rostered?
I absolutely think he should be. He'll definitely be my backup tight end everywhere. I
should have killed him. I didn't realize that anybody took it seriously.
And my K would definitely have to be Marvin Jones. I've never really liked this fit. He had one hot start, and he's been riding those coattails forever.
You son of a... So, moving on to the South. Ooh, this division. Jeez Louise, this division. So, for the first of our FMKs in the South, we've got Atlanta's backfield. Everybody knows what the order is, but what do you actually want to do?
Right. Well, I think Freeman has to be my F. I'm really high on this team. You guys are going to hear plenty about this as the offseason goes on. But I want to believe so hard in Freeman that I have to F him, because if he isn't the guy I want him to be, I'm going to have to get off that snide real fast and trade the name before it's over. I'd then M Ito Smith and then K Quadri Olsen, because at best he's going to be a goal line vulture, and I would never have that guy on my team.
At very best, he'll be a goal line vulture. So it's easy to kill him. Just because the upside is only that. Devontae and Ito are obviously both fucks. There's no Mary here. I like your take on Ito Smith being the Mary because Tevin Coleman had a role, so somebody's going to have a role. Yeah, I had a different list, but you convinced me to change it.
Coming up next, let's talk New Orleans Saints football. This has got to be one of the hardest trios to have come up with. This team
only because of the third round ADP. This team is full of people above that.
Hit us, Will.
Latavius Murray, Taquan Smith, or Jared Cook. Fuck, marry, kill, Nick. You're on the clock.
I'm going to F Latavius Murray because with Mark Ingram gone, this is my gotta go to. This is the guy that if I'm drafting, if I'm going to spend a higher draft capital, this is the one that's going to have the potential for the highest result. Right? Like, if anybody out of this trio is going to score 10 touchdowns, I think it's Murray. I might be talking myself out of this midstream.
Oh, my gosh.
My Mary is going to be Jared Cook, because what he did in Oakland last year and now working with Drew Brees, and we've all seen the success Drew Brees has brought into tight ends like Ben Watson, Jimmy Graham. I mean, it's when they can catch, he throws it to them. So if I was going to bet on one of these guys for the whole season, week in, week out starter, this would be my guy, which leaves me killing Taquan Smith, which really isn't fair because I do like the player a lot.
You're just playing the rules too hard.
I just like the player a lot.
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't?
But I can't spend draft capital on him. I'll watch him on the waiver wire and pick him up if
it really
something jumps ahead.
Fuck Jared Cook. Taquan Smith as a secondary. Marry Latavius Murray because you know he'll do what he'll do. It'll be all right. People will have to use him. That's the thing, is that you know that people are going to have to use Latavius Murray at some point. You're not going to envy that person. You're going to hope that you had a better draft where you don't have to. So you fuck Jared Cook because Jared Cook might be good. Kill... I know it's not the rules, but kill Michael Thomas. He's 3 overall in ADP.
That ADP ridiculous. Is way high, and I own him in a dynasty draft. I agree, but...
And yes, kill Taquan outside of that. Because it's just not a sure... There's nothing sure. I'd rather bet on Jared Cook. Jared Cook showed us he knows how to play tight end. Finally. We'd all been waiting for Jared Cook, and he did it.
Taquan will be a fun waiver wire watch.
No, that makes perfect sense. In Carolina, This is a fucking great one.
This has to be one of the most hotly debated things I've seen in podcasts right now. Where is it DJ Moore? Is it Curtis Samuels? Is Greg Olsen dead? Like, those two versus each other, and is Greg Olsen dead?
I know you all know who we're going to kill, but the fun part will be at the beginning.
Oh, do they?
Oh, no.
Who you got?
Oh, I'm killing Greg Olsen.
Oh, he's killing Greg Olsen. Interesting.
Easy.
Hmm.
Oh, go, please.
Oh, well.
Please tell me your FMK now. I feel like the listener would have thought you would not be picking this new thing.
Oh,
or
well,
you would be picking
again,
some new thing.
The shallow pool that is tight end. Doesn't take a lot to make waves. I am effing Greg Olsen all night long. Oh, do I want me some... With that ADP, I don't got to spend anything to potentially have not a top 10 tight end, a top 5 tight end for 0 currency. Potentially a waiver wire pickup.
Do you know who George Kittle is? He's the new Greg Olsen.
I do, but I also know the old Greg Olsen
No. I mean,
is still Greg Olsen.
I'm saying it was like when you were the only option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that leaves me a Mary, and I just believe they didn't spin that first round pick. I think I saw things last year that make me a believer. DJ Moore, come up front. Your price is right for me, which unfortunately I hate doing it because I actually love Curtis Samuels. But
it's fine.
This is the game.
You don't have to kill anybody.
All right. Well, if I don't have to kill anybody, I would like to Gumar Curtis Samuels.
Listen. There are things like threesomes.
Yeah.
There are times when you can fuck 2 people.
Right. Great. So I'm going to marry DJ Moore. I'm going to have a one-night stand with Greg Olsen, and then I'm going to Gumar Curtis Samuels because I love him so.
See, I think you should marry Greg Olsen if that's your opinion, because you know a guy that you can take as a tight end very late in the draft. Like, you're so late that you could actually build your whole strategy around, I don't need to take a tight end because I know Greg Olsen's going to be there. So marry him. You son of a bitch, put a ring on it. And I'll do my own. So, for me, there is no marry out of these 3. But if I have to do it, I will say, well, I'm fucking Curtis Samuel, and I'm marrying Curtis Samuel. I think that DJ Moore is another player that is a hybrid, whereas Curtis Samuel is a real wide receiver, and they'll need at least one, and I think he'll take a step forward. I love your take on Greg Olsen. I've actually kind of rethought Greg Olsen a little bit because of it. I'm still going to kill him because I already killed him. Like, he can do better, and he's an old man. Mary in this situation, DJ Moore is not overpriced at ADP, so you're not wrong to take DJ Moore. I just am way more excited about Curtis Samuel. Tampa Bay.
Oh, Tampa Bay.
The last one in the South.
Oh, Tampa Bay. Well, I'm going to, excuse me for a second. I'm going to take my gloves off here. We got to get ready for a fight. Tampa Bay. I'd like to talk about running backs with you, well, because, good Lord, I don't know if there's a more polarizing position on a team than this.
It's only not polarizing because people don't care which running back wins.
No. I was just speaking about between us.
Oh, yes.
The race between Peyton Barber, last year's second-round pick, Ronald Jones, and former second-round pick for the Arizona Cardinals, Andre Ellington, who now Bruce Arians is there. This is the man who drafted him. Now, with the fluffy, tender love of Bruce Arians, I would like to get on the bandwagon of, we're going to rebrand him. From now on, he's Rojo. And Rojo is going to be your number 1 running back. If I'm effing anybody, I'll take a flyer on Andre Ellington. If I'm marrying somebody, I am marrying Rojo. Ronald Jones is going to be the starter day 1 in, like, preseason day 1. Not week 1. Day 1. Will be the starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the single best running back ADP. If you're somebody who likes to do the opposite, grab your wide receivers early and your running backs late while you fill in the rest of your roster, this is your man. And I will actually even go one step further while I'm killing the awful Peyton Barber. I would like to $1 gentleman's bet Peyton Barber isn't on the roster for week 1.
You don't want to make it $100,000?
No, $1. Gentleman's bet.
Okay. Gentleman's bet. $1. I'd be willing to make it your immortal soul versus mine.
Unfortunately, I've seen Millhouse have the extra soul and row the boat. So, no, I've got to do boat rowing eventually.
Yeah. I really think that the regime that drafted Ronald Jones really wanted him to be the number 1. It's not like they are somehow the ones who
The coaching
betrayed
staff
him.
didn't want him. They were happy with Peyton Barber. It was the GM that took him. They're separate.
And we'll see whether it works out which way. I think it's pretty easy to kill Ronald Jones. I guess you could fuck Andre Ellington a bit because I think he'll be the pass-catching back, and they don't really have a specifically pass-catching back, and so he'll do that. And then, obviously, marry Peyton Barber. Peyton Barber is the last running back you can take that it has any chance to be a good portion of the carries on his team.
So this is the first half of Speculation Nation's FMK episode for the NFC. Come back, visit us, watch the AFC, or if you watch the AFC first, thanks. And
Like and subscribe.
thanks for tuning in.